John here, and today we're going to talk about and review Rambo 3. And I have to say, this is probably my second favorite Rambo film. My number one favorite being the first movie. First Blood's my number one. And after that, I was, for a while there, I was back and forth, what is my second favorite? Is it the second film or this movie? Now having rewatched all the movies again, and again, I have to say, the third film is my second favorite. Where the second film, made Rambo more larger than life. It was more about the action and what have you. Here, I don't know if it's because of the budget and the scale of the movie, that everything is bigger and the action is great. Rambo First Blood Part 2 had great action, a lot of great moments. But here, even by the end of the film, where you have Rambo and Troutman against an army, and you're using real helicopters and real tanks, and, the action, and I'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But the story real quick, so Rambo is in Thailand in the beginning. He's settled in Thailand and, working at a monastery. And Troutman approaches Rambo to, ask him to assist him on a top secret mission to Afghanistan. And Rambo declines. But when Troutman is captured, Rambo has to go and rescue his friend. And that's the plot here to Rambo 3. Now, the film is directed by Peter MacDonald, and he worked on the second film. He was the second unit director, and I think that's what he's more so known for. If I'm not mistaken, he's still doing that to this day, providing second unit. And he did direct some movies. He directed Mo Money, which I've heard about but haven't seen. He directed Neverending Story 3. Yeah, that's the one where Jack Black is the bully in the film, the high school bully. I haven't seen that film, but that's what I remember. That's what I know about the film. He also directed Legionnaire with Van Damme. And originally, they had wanted Russell Mulcahy, the guy that directed Highlander, to direct this movie. And he was part of it for some time, but before production began, he dropped out due to creative differences. Now, I didn't read up if it was with Stallone or, what really happened. What were those differences? I know that Stallone has talked about it in interviews and stuff. And I kind of wonder, and maybe I should have done a little bit more research, but, what was those creative differences? But Peter MacDonald, to me, did a good job. I think, now, I don't know why didn't he direct more action movies? Now, like I said, he's more known for providing second unit, and he's done a whole bunch of movies. Go look him up on IMDb. He's done a lot of movies, and like I said, he's still, providing second unit, even to this day. So he's still working, but again, I kind of wonder, why didn't Peter MacDonald direct more action movies, or what have you? But I thought he did a good job here. But the cast here, Stallone as Rambo is great again. And Stallone is jacked here. He's jacked up. I don't know what his routine was at this time. You got to think about it. Stallone at this time is about 41, 42, and he's jacked in this movie. Troutman returns, played by Richard Crenna, does a great job again, and you really get their banter here because in this film here, it's Rambo and Troutman, side by side. It's almost like a buddy film, and yeah, they're working side by side, throughout the movie. So you really get that rapport, you really get that banter throughout the film that makes it entertaining. Kurtwood Smith He's in the film for a little bit. As Griggs, who's this field operative. Kurtwood Smith was the main villain in RoboCop, and he's been in a bunch of movies. The villain here, the Colonel Sazin, played by Mark DeJong, or I know I'm probably mispronouncing it. I'm going to try again. Mark DeJong. But, he does good. I mean, he does a good job here as the villain. Unfortunately, he died in 1996. And I was reading about his death, and he got locked out of his apartment, and he tried to scale a wall to get back in, and he failed. And I'm like, that's unfortunate. But he did a good job here as the villain. Like I said, it's just sad that unfortunately he was taken away at a young age. But the rest of the cast here, I mean, it's more so Stallone and Richard Crenna, Kurtwood Smith for a little bit here in the beginning where he's talking to Rambo at the monastery. The villain played by, again, Mark DeJong, he does a good job here. So the cast, everybody does a great, I mean, Stallone's great. I mean, Troutman, you really get their camaraderie throughout the film. So, again, overall, the cast is great. Jerry Goldsmith, comes back to provide the score here. I would say I prefer the score of the second film more, but, Jerry Goldsmith is a great composer, and he's definitely missed. And at the time, this was the most expensive production. The budget was somewhere between like 58 and 63 million. And you could see it on the screen. I mean, again, the scale of the film, everything feels bigger. The action is bigger. Everything is bigger. I mean, I don't know what other word to use. But the budget is, used quite well. And, again, when the action happens, everything feels bigger. As a big scale. In terms of the action, in terms of the locations here and so forth. And, there's things about the film that we remember. Everybody remembers the stick fight at the beginning, which, now I can't help but think of Hot Shots Part 2 every time that scene comes up. But, it's a great stick fight. Rambo being in Thailand, working at a monastery. It was a great location. I thought Thailand, was a nice setting in the beginning. And again, you have Troutman being taken. Rambo has to go rescue Troutman from this compound. And, again, going back to Stallone, he's shredded in this movie. And you get a little bit of the C4 tip arrow explosives, after breaking out Troutman. There's this one scene where he blows up a helicopter with a C4 tip arrow explosive, which is great. And you got the fight between Rambo and Karov, where, Karov puts Rambo in this bear hug, and he pulls the pins of the grenades and kicks him down the hole, which is great. He's hanging there and he blows up. Great comeuppance. And the final battle at the end of the film, where Rambo and Troutman, they're cornered by this army, and you got real tanks and real helicopters, and just the two of them against this whole army. What do you say, John? Fuck them. And again, it's all legit. It's all, tangible. Where nowadays, nowadays, if you had this type of film, the budget would be ballooned up with a lot of, CGI helicopters and CGI tanks. And I keep hitting the paper here, but it's just a shame that, we can't get action scenes like this. The way the whole third act of this movie is exciting, and it pumps you up because you have Rambo and Troutman against this whole army, and everything is real. Everything that you see on the screen is real and legit and tangible. It's organic. That the fact that you have all of this happening in the third act, and everything that happens in the third act of this movie is more exciting than anything that comes out today. And the scene where Rambo is charging at the colonel. He's in the tank, he's in the helicopter, and they crash at each other. Again, great comeuppance there for our main villain, where they charge at each other. And at the end of the film, Rambo and Trotman leave Afghanistan. And yeah, so there's a lot of things that we remember about this movie, a lot of things that I love about this movie. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think I've covered a lot here. And with all that being said, let me get to my final thoughts on Rambo 3. John Rambo returns, this time on a rescue mission to save his best friend, Colonel Trotman, from Soviet forces in Afghanistan. Rambo is a force to be reckoned with in this adventure, also packed with great action scenes with an exciting third act that oozes testosterone. Jerry Goldsmith provides the score once again, highly underrated, and probably my favorite sequel after First Blood. And out of 10, I'm going to give Rambo 3 a 10 out of 10. But thank you for watching, and stay tuned for my review of Rambo 4.